Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome the audience to the June 18th, 2019 Parish Planning and Zoning Board meeting. If you would, please stand while Coach LaSalle Williams says the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Dear Lord, thank you for allowing us another blessed day. Thank you for your love, your caring. That's the real presence in this meeting tonight, and we pray for our dear member, Jennifer Wallace, that's in the hospital over in Lafayette. We know that you, the doctor of all doctors, the nurses of all doctors and nurses. Pray for the doctors that are attending to her and the nurses as well. But all you have to do is just speak a word, and everything will be fine. And we pray that you do that and bless her family and all of those who care for her at this time. And we know, Lord, that you don't do anything for us that we can't do for ourselves. Pray for this staff. We pray for our board. And also ask a special prayer for those who come seeking our help. Let the Holy Spirit guide and lead us that we might do that which is right. This we offer as our prayer this day in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm ready, sir. I need the prayers and he needs the practice.
Ms. Christie, would you call the roll, please?
Chair Art Little,
Here.
Vice Chair Randy Amador,
Here.
Miss Latricia Cobb, Miss Julia Dickerson. Here. Miss Sharon Galicia. Here. Miss Janelle Hyatt, Mr. Kyle Link, Mr. Jake Porche, Mr. Gary Navarre,
I'm here.
Mr. Kirk Smith,
Here.
Mr. LaSalle Williams.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah. This is an 11-member board. It will take the majority of those members present to grant or deny any requests heard here tonight. The chair will refrain from voting unless that vote might affect the outcome. The meeting will be conducted with me reading the request from the agenda. The planning staff will give a presentation and report their recommendations. If the applicant would like to add to the staff's presentation, or if someone from the audience has comments, please come to the microphone, state your name, address, and the nature of your request. All persons wishing to speak other than the applicant needs to fill out a blue request to appear form located in the back of this room. This form must be given to a staff member prior to the reading of the agenda item. As required by this board's bylaws, in all cases, the proponents will be limited to 10 minutes. Opponents will be granted 10 minutes as well, with each speaker allowed no more than 3 minutes. I recommend that a spokesperson be selected if there's a large group wanting to speak on the same agenda item. If 4 or more speakers' request forms are submitted, the time allowed for individual speakers will be limited based upon the number of forms submitted. The chair has the right to limit speakers who present redundant information or personal attacks. In unique situations, the chair may extend or the board may vote to extend the time allotted for speakers. After discussion, the board will vote on each request. I will announce the decision of the board after the vote. The exceptions and variances requests are final tonight. The rezoning cases will go before the police jury for final action on June the 20th, 2019 at 5:30 p.m. This meeting is being filmed by Calcasieu Parish Government Channel and can be viewed on Wednesday and Thursday following the meeting. For additional run dates, check the website at www.cppj.net. Channel 5 in Lake Charles, Sulphur, Moss Bluff, Westlake, Vinton, DeQuincy, and Gillis. Channel 99 in Corliss and Grand Lake. At this time, please turn off or silence all electronic devices. The first item on our agenda is to take appropriate action on the approval of the minutes of the May 21st, 2019 Planning and Zoning meeting.
So move.
I have a motion by Mr. Navarre and seconded by Ms. Hyatt. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Before we get into the next agenda item, I'd like to announce that item number 14, case RZ 05190133, a request by Pat Rapp to rezone from agricultural A1 to recreational vehicle park, or RVP, to allow recreation vehicle park 16 spaces at 2554 Pete Road in Ward 4 has been withdrawn. So if you came here especially for that one and you don't want to stay for our meeting, that's as far as we'll go on that particular item. Also, before we get started, I would like to recognize that Mr. Les Fornham, one of our police jurors, is here in the building with us tonight. Appreciate you showing up. Thank you, sir. Agenda item number 6, take appropriate action on VAR 04190088, a request by TKN Properties LLC for a variance to increase the density requirements, allowed 16 units, requesting 22 units at 268 Swallow Lane in Ward 1. I'll entertain a motion for approval. I have a motion by Ms. Cobb, seconded by Ms. Hyatt. Ms. Tone, would you please read
This
the
property
applicant?
is located in Moss Bluff and encompasses 1.5 acres of land. Last month, this board approved this request to rezone the property to multifamily to allow duplexes. The applicant is now requesting a variance to increase the density requirements to add 3 additional duplexes from the allowed 8 duplexes. If approved, this will allow a total of 11 duplexes. Because the proposed density is consistent with the character of the area, the staff recommends the request be granted, and we have not received any written opposition to this request.
Thank you, Ms. Tammy. Does the applicant have anything to add to the staff's recommendations? Thank you. Does the board have any questions or comments? We have no blue cards, no opposition. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Agenda item number 7, take appropriate action on VAR 05190090, a request by Aaron Guillory for a variance to allow a dwelling with less than required public road frontage. Required 250 feet, requesting 100 feet, and less than required lot square footage. Requires 87,120 square feet, requesting 20,000 square feet at 3635 Clement Road in Ward 8. I'll entertain a motion for approval with conditions. Have
Second.
a motion by Ms. Dickerson, seconded by Ms. Hyatt. Ms. Tammy?
This property is located in the Manchester area and encompasses 0.49 acres. Currently on the property is the applicant's home and a storage building. The applicant intends to construct a new residence where the storage building is located and later tear down the house. Therefore, the applicant is requesting to allow a dwelling with less than required public road frontage and less than required lot square footage. Once the existing house is removed, the property would be in compliance with the parish code. Because minimal impacts are to be expected, the staff recommends that the request be granted with the following conditions: that the development adhere to the site plan on file with the Division of Planning and Development, provided the director or designee may authorize adjustments to the site plan in light of technical or engineering considerations discovered during development, and upon zoning approval, the existing house must be removed within 2 years or upon completion of final electrical inspection on the proposed house. We have not received any written opposition to this request.
Thank you, Ms. Tammy. Does the applicant have anything to add to the staff's recommendations? Any of the board members have any questions or comments? So no oppositions. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Agenda item number 8, take appropriate action on VAR 05190091, a request by Great Southern Group LLC for a variance to allow the building to exceed the maximum square footage allowed 6,500 square feet, requesting 9,100 square feet, in the 3,000 block of Beglis Parkway in Ward 4. I'll entertain a motion for approval with conditions.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Porche, seconded by Ms. Cobb. Ms. Tammy?
This property is located in Sulphur and encompasses 1.57 acres. Currently, this property is vacant. The applicant plans to construct a Dollar General store. This use is permitted by right in the light commercial zoning. However, the store is proposed to be 9,100 square feet, which exceeds the maximum square footage of 6,500 square feet. Therefore, the applicant is requesting to allow the building to exceed the maximum square footage requirements. Because minimal impacts are to be expected, the staff recommends that the request be granted with the following conditions: that the development adhere to the site plan on file with the Division of Planning and Development, provided that director or designee may authorize adjustments to the site plan in light of technical or engineering considerations discovered during development, that all exterior lighting must be oriented inward toward the development or structures to minimize intrusion onto surrounding properties, that screening must be provided along the east property line in accordance with Section 26-50 of the Parish Code of Ordinances prior to final electrical approval on that specific development, that the development adhere to stormwater best management practices, and that a runoff management plan will be required unless appropriate waiver is granted by the Division of Engineering. We have not received any written opposition to this request.
Thank you, Ms. Tammy. Does the applicant have anything to add to the staff's recommendations? Any members of the board have any comments or questions? Having no oppositions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Agenda item number 9, take appropriate action on EX 05190053, a request by Joshua Attaway for an exception to allow commercial development beauty shop at 806 Tallow Road in Ward 3. I'll entertain a motion for approval with conditions.
Moved.
I have a motion by Ms. Cobb, second by Ms. Hyatt. Ms. Tammy?
This property is located in South Lake Charles area and encompasses 1 acre of land. Currently on the property is the applicant's home. The applicant would like to place a 10 by 16 building on the property to be used for a beauty shop. The parish code requires an exception by this board for a detached barber or beauty shop and to allow this project to move forward. Because the proposed development will have minimal impacts, the staff recommends that the request be granted with the following conditions: that the development adhere to the site plan on file with the Division of Planning and Development, provided that the director or designee may authorize adjustments to the site plan in light of technical or engineering considerations discovered during development, that all exterior lighting must be oriented inward toward the development or structures to minimize intrusion onto surrounding properties, that the maximum extent possible natural screening be maintained along the west, south, and east property lines, that the development adhere to stormwater best management practices, and that a runoff management plan will be required unless appropriate waiver is granted by the Division of Engineering, and we have not received any written opposition to this.
Thank you, Ms. Tammy. Does the applicant have anything to add to the staff's recommendations? Any of our board members have any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Agenda item number 10, take appropriate action on EX 05190054, a request by Mary Tervort for an exception to allow residential development manufactured home at 3536 Woodland Drive in Ward 4. I'll entertain a motion for approval with conditions. I have a motion by Ms. Dickerson, second by Ms. Cobb. Ms. Tammy?
This property is located in Sulphur and encompasses 1.22 acres. Currently, the property is vacant. The applicant would like to place a triple-wide manufactured home on the property to be used as her residence. The parish code requires an exception by the board for a manufactured home and to allow this project to move forward. Because a similar request was granted in the area and minimal impacts are to be expected, the staff recommends the request be granted with the following conditions: that the development adhere to the site plan on file with the Division of Planning and Development, provided the director or designee may authorize adjustments to the site plan in light of technical or engineering considerations discovered during development, and that the manufactured home be skirted prior to utilities being connected. And we have received written opposition to this request, and they have been downloaded to your tablets.
Thank you, Ms. Tammy. And we do have one blue card in opposition. Does the applicant have anything to add to the staff's recommendations? Board have any questions at this time? Mr. Navarre?
Ms. Dunn, you said that there had been an exception allowed previous to somewhere, how far from this actual location?
Actually, probably up the block, probably about a block, quarter of a mile. To the north,
To the north, behind it?
that would be to the west. So to the north
To the
would be.
north, if you
If
look
you're
at the
looking at your
map.
map, it would be to the north.
To the top.
Okay.
Uh-huh, to the top.
To the
Yeah,
top, sorry.
okay, I got you.
Yeah.
To put a mobile home where there's so much nice homes in the neighborhood, I mean, not that direct deal, but I'm sure eventually that property there is gonna be going out of sight. People's gonna wanna build a nice home and with a triple wide, I have a problem with it, I really do. It just doesn't seem like it's the right place. They've got a huge mobile home park not far from there. Of course, a triple wide, you're not gonna put that in a mobile home park, but to me, it should be in somewhere where there's a neighborhood of double wides and triple wides. That's all I have to say.
Or any other questions or comments from the board? Mr.
So the
Okay.
similar request, it was on South Baglis, just further north? And what was the date?
It was on, it was previous to 5 years, so we don't
Okay.
actually have that date available. But it was on Moss Lane, on the north side of Moss Lane.
Okay. Okay.
Other
That
questions
was
or
all. I
comments?
just-
We have one blue card, Mr. Les Farnham, if you would. State your name and address for the records, please, sir.
Les Farnham, 312 Oakley Drive in Sulphur, Louisiana. I represent these people, and when I first heard about the case, I went out there and looked and started talking with the residents out there, and there are no other mobile homes in that residential area. Now, if there was one granted, some of them talked about one on a piece of commercial property some years ago that, and it doesn't exist there today. And they're very worried about their property values with a mobile home coming in and starting a precedence that may cascade down the line and turn into more and more and more mobile homes in that area. Very nice, very, very nice homes in that area. And I ask that y'all help them protect their property value and uphold the character of their neighborhood, and with vote overturning this and not allowing the exception.
Farnham,
Any
anyone have any
questions?
questions? Mr. Jake?
If I'm reading the map correct, I mean, this area here is surrounded by light industrial?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, there's light industrial to the west that actually fronts on South Baglis and then to the south.
Okay. So I mean, that, I'm just thinking out loud, I mean, that could
impact.
potentially be great impact to a residential area, budding right up here. I mean, there could be an industrial shop, a lay-down yard, I mean,
Yeah, there's no doubt there could be some impact there.
I'm just, come down to it, you might be hoping for a triple wide. If the light industrial, I mean, as zoned, were to develop.
And it's been light industrial for as long as I've been alive, probably.
Right.
And
I guess it may be something that.
and nothing's ever been built there along those lines.
Right.
And there's actually a canal that kind of runs down that in between those two areas. It kind of creates a natural buffer,
Right.
whereas this particular mobile home would be right in their front door.
Right.
And they invested their money in that property, knowing that the light industrial was there,
Right.
because it's been that way for a long time. But
Yep.
then to come in and change the rules after the game's been played for
Sure.
a long time is just wrong and not right
This
for
is
these
just
residents.
off track, but is that something that maybe the parish would want to look at, looking at some of that existing zoning and saying, hey, this has been residential and expanding residential, we may want to look at rezoning some of this. I'm just, because it's surrounding residential, nice homes. the right developer come in and mess everybody's world up.
Well, I mean, certainly there's an opportunity. The police jury has to give us that,
Right.
the
That's a
authority to
discussion
do.
for another day.
Yeah,
but
to do
I'm
a
just
study.
looking at it, when I saw it, I was like,
Yeah, this has
man,
been,
this is surrounded by light
Mr.
industrial.
Farnham's correct. I think this was done during comprehensive zoning.
Okay,
And so it's been like that forever,
right,
since the, early 80s.
right, sure.
So,
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's it.
Any other questions from the board? Thank you, Mr. Farnham, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Does the applicant have any comments or questions for the board?
Sure, if the applicant's here.
Is the applicant present? Evidently, we don't have the applicant here. Ms. Christie, can we have a roll call vote, please, ma'am?
Ms. Dickerson? No. Mr. Smith?
No.
Mr. Porsche?
No.
Mr. Williams? No. Mr. Armentor?
No.
Ms. Galicia?
No.
Ms. Cobb? Mr. Navarre?
Nope.
Ms. Hyatt? No. 9 against.
Thank you, Ms. Christie. The motion fails. Agenda item number 11, take appropriate action on RZ 04190131, a request by Shammy Enterprises LLC to rezone from Central Business Commercial C1 and Agricultural A1 to Light Industrial I1 to allow light industrial development, a contractor shop and storage yard at 2896 Highway 171 North in Ward 1. I'll entertain a motion for approval with conditions.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Navarre, seconded by Ms. Hyatt. Ms. Tammy?
This property is located in Moss Bluff and encompasses 1.29 acres. Currently on the property is an existing commercial building. The applicant has been utilizing the property for an office and storage yard for M&M Lawn Irrigation Company. Therefore, the applicant is requesting to rezone to light industrial to allow a contractor shop and storage yard. The outside storage associated with the contractor shop is required by parish code to be zoned light industrial. Because the proposed development is consistent with the character of the area, the staff recommends that the request be granted with the following conditions. That the development adhere to the site plan on file with the Division of Planning and Development, provide that director or designee may authorize adjustments to the site plan in light of technical or engineering considerations discovered during development, excuse me, and that the exterior lighting must be oriented inward toward the development or structures to minimize intrusion to the surrounding properties. We have not received any written opposition to this request.
Thank you, Ms. Tammy. Is the applicant present? Would they have any comments or questions? If not, does any of the board members have any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Agenda item number 12. Take appropriate action on RZ 05190132, a request by James Lanier to amend ordinance number 6405 RZ 04019-14 stipulations that the development adhere to the site plan on file, provided that the Director of Planning and Development or designee may authorize adjustments to site plan in light of technical or engineering considerations discovered during development. That all parking within the light industrial I-1 portion must be hard surface with the exception of any lay-down yard, and that the new parking lot is for passenger vehicles only, to allow a revised site plan and aggregate parking area at 3516 Highway 27 South in Ward 4. I'll entertain a motion for approval with conditions. Have a motion by Ms. Cobb, seconded by Ms. Hyatt. Ms. Tammy?
This property is located in Carlos and encompasses 0.92 acres. The applicant has recently started construction on a 100 by 132 square foot light industrial building to expand his existing fabrication business. In 2014, this board and the police jury rezoned this property with the stipulation that the track in question would be used as a passenger vehicle parking lot only, and that the development adhere to the site plan, and that parking must be hard surfaced. The applicant is requesting that previous stipulation be amended to allow a revised site plan to allow construction of a new building and to allow aggregate parking. Because the equipment to be contained in the proposed building will be utilized in operations on the south side of the facility, the staff recommends that the request be granted with the following stipulations: that the development adhere to the site plan on file with the Division of Planning and Development, provided the director or designee may authorize adjustments to the site plan in light of technical or engineering considerations discovered during development, and that an 8-foot wooden privacy fence be installed on the west and south property lines of Lot 3 prior to any final electrical approval. We have not received written opposition to this request.
Thank you, Ms. Tammy. Does the applicant have anything to add to the staff's recommendations? Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Agenda item number 13, take appropriate action on VAR 05190089, a request by James Lanier for a variance to decrease the number of parking spaces. Required 260 spaces, requesting 58 spaces at 3516 Highway 27 South in Ward 4. I'll entertain a motion for approval with conditions.
Move.
I have a motion by Ms. Cobb, seconded by Ms. Galicia. Ms. Tammy.
This is the same property as the previous case. The applicant is requesting to reduce the number of parking spaces for the fabrication business. With the total square footage of buildings, the applicant is required to have 260 parking spaces. The applicant has submitted justification due to the business operations to reduce the number of parking spaces to 58. Because minimal impacts are to be expected, the staff recommends the request be granted, and we have not received any written opposition.
Thank you, Ms. Tammy. We do have one blue card for general comments, but at this time, I'd like the applicant, if he has any questions or comments that he'd like to make according to the staff's recommendations. Hearing none, does the board have any questions or comments? I'd like to call Ms. Donica Babas. Please state your name and address for the records, please, ma'am.
Danica Babaz. I live at 3624 Crocus Lane in Carlos, not that far from the property. I'm not opposed to what he wants to do. I just wanted to make a note of it, that if we're going to put in that parking, that the employees utilize the parking. Back in 2014, when we redid the zoning then, it was noted at that time that the employee or that the employees of the company should not be accessing off of North Rosemont, which is one of two accesses into the Rosemont subdivision, that they should be parking on their property. Here lately, they've kind of been accessing North Rosemont. I did talk to James last week about it. He did address a lot of my concerns. I did notice a difference, but it's not if, but when they start utilizing it again, I want to kind of have a leg to stand on when I start complaining. So I just wanted it noted in this time, if we're going to do the parking, that they need to utilize it.
Very much. Any questions or comments from the board? Mr. Navarre.
How many employees do you have, sir?
42.
If you would, James,
Oh, 42. Okay.
please state your name and address for the records, please, sir.
James Lanier, 7263 Highway 27 South.
How many employees do you have, permanent employees?
42.
What is the most employees you've ever employed?
Probably 42.
So the reason I'm asking it.
Maybe 45.
Okay, because the reason I'm asking, if you only have space for 58 and you have a big deal, and you have to hire a bunch of people, where are you gonna put them, you know?
Well, I actually have
Some other property?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
A lot of open area around there.
so you're gonna make sure this lady don't have any complaints about your employees
She's
parking on
not
the road?
gonna ever complain about me again.
Okay. That's all I need to know, sir.
Okay, yes, sir.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Christie, can we have a roll call vote, please, ma'am?
Ms. Galicia?
Yes.
Ms. Dickerson?
Yes.
Mr. Porsche? Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Cobb?
Yes.
Mr. Navarre?
Yes.
Ms. Hyatt?
Yes.
And Mr. Armitar?
Yes.
9 for.
Ms. Christie? Motion carries.
Feel like America.
This time, agenda item number 14, case number RZ 05190133, a request by Patrick Rapp to rezone from agricultural A1 to recreational vehicle park R-RVP to allow a recreational vehicle park 16 spaces at 2554 Pete Road in Ward 4 has been withdrawn. The next item on the agenda is to advise that the police jury took the following action on May 23rd, 2019, with reference to the recommendations of the Planning and Zoning Board from the May 21st, 2019 meeting. Jennifer Thomas, Evangeline Highway, Planning and Zoning denied, police jury upheld. Painter Properties, East Abear Road, Planning and Zoning approved, police jury upheld. TKN Properties, Swallow Lane, Planning and Zoning approved, police jury upheld. Revision to Chapter 26, Planning and Zoning approved, police jury upheld. The next item on the agenda is to advise that the next regularly scheduled Planning and Zoning meeting will be held on Tuesday, July 16th, in the police jury meeting room. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So move.
I have a motion by Ms. Cobb, seconded by Mr. Navarre. Meeting adjourned.
I'm out of here.